All right. And we are back. We are back. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Now and Then. We don't just do music artists on here, but I like to touch on everybody. Everybody that does a lot of anything artistic, dancing, rapping. Um, and I also want to get to our writers too. We got a lot of writers out there, and I got one today. His name is Jay Burrows. He represent Brooklyn. Oh, that's good with Brooklyn. So we're gonna get him in here. He has a new book. It's called Porn. All right, and we're gonna see what's popping with him. Getting started. All right. So hope everything is well with everybody. My man Big Botch, I see you up in the joint. You know what I'm saying? Here goes my man right here, Jay Burrows. Good with you, my G.
What's good, family? How you?
Thank you, man. Good, man. Now I can see you. Thank you for being on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show.
yeah. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you for being on the show. I really appreciate it. I like to use this platform not just for rappers and dancers and things like that, but I like to do it for people who have a lot of artistic ability and also, writing. And I think that's very important. I think that's something that we need to keep going in our community. We need more writers. So,
Yeah.
introduce yourself to the people and tell us about your book, Porn.
My name is Jay Burrows. The J is short for Julius. Brooklyn born, native, Bed-Stuy, Marcy, to be exact.
Marcy Projects. All right, cool.
Yeah. Um, the book Porn is basically my life from the genesis of me discovering porn as a young child until the revelation of me getting out of the addiction of it as an older man and my day-to-day struggle with it.
Hold on. So you had an addiction to porn. Now, I'm not making a joke out, but this is something that a lot of people probably don't take serious. I've never heard of it.
Right.
How will we know that they're addicted to porn? What did you go through?
So basically, the biggest tell that you're addicted to it is when it's consuming so much of your time. So it's like, you get urges, you get impulses. Your mind starts to go into one lane where you have a thought. You thinking about whatever particular porn star you like or whatever, and you view a couple of scenes. It's nothing to you, right? But on a consistent basis, a lot of men deal with this. They do it on a consistent basis. It still feels like it's nothing, maybe one or two times a day, but you could sit in front of a computer screen for hours and get lost, just clicking, 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 clicking. You know what I'm saying? It's just pulling you down a rabbit hole. And that's when I realized that I had a problem. As I'm sitting there, I've been here for like 3 hours now. I stand up, my knees hurt, my body ache, and I'm like, yo, what am I doing? And you've been surfing the net all that time.
Man,
So it's a problem. Yeah, it's a problem.
So I want you to walk me through from the beginning. I don't want you to ruin nothing in the book, because I definitely want everybody to go out and get it. First of all, where can everybody buy this book, Porn? Where can they get it at?
You can get it on Amazon.com. You can get it on BarnesandNobles.com. You can get it on Google. You can get it on iTunes. You can also digitally download from any of those platforms as well.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So I want to start from the beginning. So you grew up in Marcy. Tell us what it was like growing up in Marcy.
Marcy was fun. I grew up, I was born in the 70s, early 70s, and I was an 80s baby. So I was through the whole crack era, through all that stuff. It was dangerous, but it was fun. We played, we did everything every normal kid did. I grew up with Jazz, I grew up with Jay, grew up with Sauce, with Bleak. Bleak was a little younger than us, but I grew up with all of those dudes. And Marcy was a thing where it was a village. Everybody knew everybody. Your grandmother, my grandmother knew you and your family, and vice versa. So when you was outside playing, it was a little more safe than what it is today. It wasn't like nobody gonna run and snatch your kid up. You around the way, you on one side of the project or the other. I was privy. I grew up on both sides of the project. My mom's lived on one side, my pops lived on the other. So I was going to my grandma's house on one side, and I'm over here on the other side where I lived at. So I was cool with everybody. So I got to know a lot of people. And, one thing I could tell people is that I look at today's lifestyle. You know how you got the young kids today who talk about cyberbullying and all this stuff, being bullied online and all that stuff. I grew up with real bullies. I grew up with
Exactly.
dudes who washed their face in the morning, got dressed, put their hammer in their pocket and going, I'm going to get somebody today. So
And you
you
had to
had to
go
pick a
to
side.
school to that every day. Exactly. Exactly.
You had to pick a side, whether you going to be victim or you going to get out here and, I'm going to move like I'm going to move and I'm going to
Right.
do what I got to do for me. And
Right.
I was one of them kids. I was not shy to fight. I fought all my life and I was nice with my hands. So I came up in all that. I came up in the whole 52 block system. Anybody who know anything about that, Eric
Yeah.
Twitty, that's my uncle.
Right.
That's my
Got
uncle. That was my
Oh, okay.
family. So I
All
came up
right.
underneath all that. So
Right.
the names ring bells. But also in the same time, when you look at every project, we all pretty much all the same. We're
Mm-hmm.
all the same kind of kids going through the same situations. So in my book, I talked about some of the stuff we used to do. Like when you get the TV, remember the old TVs and you had the U stations? Like
Yes.
U68 was the video channel.
Video
You know,
channel.
you
Yep.
kept turning, that WHT came in with the little adult joints on there. You had that bar in between where you couldn't see. You see half a
Yeah,
body on one side, half a body on the other. See, we all know that. Everybody
right.
from that era understands and knows that and they can relate to that. And that's what I talked about in the book.
Definitely.
We were going through that stuff. And then that a lot of us didn't have father figures
Mm-hmm.
and real strong real male role models, we had to figure stuff out.
Right.
We knew a lot of what not to do, but we didn't
Right.
know a lot of what to do. So
Right.
when I got into it, like I explained my genesis because of my uncles. I found the secret stash, all the magazines, and then the
Okay.
tapes. I
Right.
found them. I found them
I was
joints.
going
It
to ask you
really.
how did you get introduced to it? So how old were you
Yeah,
around this time?
I was about, I'll say 8 or 9.
8 or 9. All right. Cool.
The real one that the thing that introduced me to is, remember those old posters, like they felt like velvet with the beautiful black woman on there,
The
with
black
the
light poster.
panther, the
Yeah. The
black
black
light
light poster.
posters.
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
got me. My uncle had one of those, and she a beautiful brown skinned woman, very voluptuous with the big afro, pretty as
Uh-huh.
all get out. And I was 8 years old, and I was
Right.
like, "Oh, this is it right here." Then I discovered the magazines that they had. Then I seen the tapes later on,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kept snowballing from there.
And
It
Doug,
was just one of those things.
it's funny that you said that because you looked at the woman on the black light poster like, yo, that's it. I looked
That's
at the
it.
woman on the Afro Sheen bottle like, damn.
There it goes. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
there it
Like
is.
the woman on the Afro Sheen bottle was the shit because to me, she reminded me of, remember when we used to go to the barbershop
Mhm.
and they had the Welcome to Jamaica post up there, homegirl walking out of
Yes,
the
I
water.
do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Coming out the
I was
water.
in
Yes, I
I was
do.
in love with her. So I
Right.
kind of get what you're saying where back then, first of all, hold on, let's pause. I want to get people to where we were back then because me and you were around the same age. I was born in 74. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I was born 72. Yeah.
So you brought up WHT. Let me explain to people what WHT
What
was.
WHC is, yeah.
All right.
Right.
Back in the days, we had cable, right? But it was only 2 cable systems that you can get. You either got
Mhm.
HBO or you
Or
got
WHC.
and it was a box. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
change the channel or nothing. Whatever showed on HBO, that's what you was watching. And if you wanted to watch regular TV, you just cut off the HBO box and put on your regular TV. But that's how we used to watch it. So
Yep.
at night, I think it was like around 11:30, 10 o'clock is when HBO would go into their porn thing, but you couldn't see nothing. It was just
It was
rubbing.
soft.
But right, but
Yeah,
we
it was
thought we
soft.
were seeing some shit. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
wanted to bring people up to speed on what WHT was because a lot of people like, what the fuck is WHT?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you was one of the lucky
Exactly.
ones. A lot of people didn't have
No,
cable
I
and
didn't have it.
WHT.
I
Oh, you
didn't
didn't
have
have
it.
it?
I
Okay.
was tuning in on the U stations.
Oh, you
So
you
I'm
did so
messing around on the U stations and I found,
exactly.
like, remember the bar used to be in between
In
it.
the middle,
So
exactly.
you see half a person on one side and the other half a person on the other side. And you
Right.
just putting it together, but you're a little kid. And my mind is being blown right now. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. And as soon as we get outside the next day, we by the Skelly Court talking about it. Like, yo, you seen that? Yeah, I seen that. It's crazy.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? This is brand new to us.
Exactly.
Mad dudes from the hood. Yeah, we all know this story. But that was my introduction.
So, all right. So now you got the box of porn, the magazines, the movies. And I'm taking it was VHS tapes or beta tapes back then.
Yeah, the VHS tapes, yeah.
No, you had two sets of VCRs, right? One was a VHS, which they call VCR, VHS, and another one was a beta. It was the smaller tape.
The small tapes, yeah.
Now, everybody thought beta was clearer. It was clearer, but when you went to Blockbuster is where we used to rent videos from back in the days.
Yep.
They had like the smallest beta section, maybe only 10 movies. VHSs, they had everything. So everybody wanted VHS. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just wanted to bring that up. You know, I like to bring people up to speed because people be like, what the fuck is a VHS and beta?
Yeah, what they talking about. Right, exactly.
So,
exactly.
So now you got the box of VHSs and the magazines. What comes next that added to your porn addiction?
So from there, you know, it went from when the changeover from the VHS tapes to the DVDs. Okay. So now we getting into the DVDs. We talking like early 90s, late 80s. So we getting into the DVDs now, and everything's expanding more because now you got the box tops was crazy. Now you looking at the tops, you in the video stores, you looking at it. We used to go to the video store called 7-Eleven on Myrtle Avenue. And the Spanish dude used to chase us out of there all the time. He's like, right there. You can't go down that way. You know you can't go over there. You know you can't go over there. And we sneaking. And then after a while, probably just because like, listen, these little dudes gonna be what they gonna be. Go ahead.
Exactly. And
then we just went, wow. Then you went down to Beach Street. You know, you go down to Beach Street when it's downstairs downtown. You go in the back around the little corner around the back right there. Same difference. So it was those things. It started becoming more and more accessible. Then it just, once you got into the internet, everything just exploded. But if you notice something, somebody pointed this out to me before. Remember, dudes used to have their collections. Right. You know, you had your stash. We all used to trade movies with each other. You know, you go into your man crib, see what he got. He come to your crib, see what you got. You give him 3-4 movies. He give you 3-4 movies, stuff like that. And then, but we always hid it from the chicks that we was dealing with.
Gotcha.
You know, you always had the stash under the bed somewhere, in the closet, in the back someplace. You know what I'm saying? So chicks didn't really know how you was moving and what you was going on with you. Now, with the making of the internet, everything is in your search. And now it's like you could get filthy as you want to be. Right. And then you go back in your search history, delete all the stuff or whatever. Even some people just keep it. It depends on who you are, what your accessibility. But the problem was it had already started snowballing. So it's like when that little seed was planted from that one poster, and I come from a family of addiction. I came, like, my grandparents were alcoholics. Like most people's grandparents from the South. They were all alcoholics, which led to my uncles and them being drug addicts. Okay. Which led to me, I don't drink. I stopped drinking at 25 because I was like in college, I was partying. I went to LIU. I was partying for a little bit, but it really didn't faze me because I seen the results.
LIU. All right, cool.
I went to LIU.
I lived right across the street from LIU. I lived on Albee Square, which is on the other side of the mall.
Okay, on the other side of the mall. Yeah. You talking about the whole running era. We're going to get to that in a minute.
Exactly.
I was there partying, having a good time, but drinking didn't faze me because I knew the downfall. So one day I just said, I won't do this no more. I never did drugs because I knew what it was. My uncle used to shoot up. His hands swelled up to the size of boxing gloves, like mini boxing gloves from shooting dope. I used to be with him when I was a kid. This thing was taking me, like, we'll go to his crib in the Bronx. My cousins up there in the Bronx. I had cousins over there on Story Avenue, Bronx River Projects, Manhattanville, Lincoln. So I was all uptown. I'm sitting there. Now, picture this. I'm an 8-9-year-old kid sitting in a Monte Carlo in front of the dope spot on 132nd on the east side. And he goes, watch the car. I'll be right back. And I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there with a Hawaiian punch and the Three Musketeers going, yeah, I got this.
Now, explain to people that area around that time?
Oh,
Okay,
Dope Head Central.
that was where
Dope
you
Head
went
Central.
to buy bags of dope, or people went to
Bags of
buy
dope.
the actual weight of dope.
Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
I want to explain it to people because, you know, people from all over. New York is a real close, congested spot. So
Yeah.
you could be on 120th Street and walk 4 blocks, and you in the illest crack era, the illest block.
Right.
And I mean, as soon as you turn that corner and walk down that block, yo, Poppy, what's up? What's up? What you need? What you need? What you need? What you need? You know how it
Right.
went. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So an 8 or 9-year-old kid, first of all, sitting in a Monte Carlo. A Monte Carlo was a badass car back then. All right? That was a badass car. But they were stealing radios and carjacking back then. And you sitting in front of a dope spot. That's crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
fucking crazy. That's fucking
But that's
crazy.
what it was. And you gotta realize, you know, being around that, it moved me away from doing drugs, but I still had an addictive personality. And, you know, the way I was raised in a single parent home. My pops cut out, you know, he did what he did. It is what it is. And it was just me and my mom's. My mom's was just grinding. She grinding, she's trying to keep a roof over her head, food in my mouth, clothes on her back. That's it. She grinding. So I can't fault her for anything she was doing. But I'm out here. You know, I wasn't getting all the love and affection that I needed. And I displaced a lot of stuff because I didn't have male role models to tell me this is this and this is that. Like, we grew up in the era of quantity. We didn't grow up with quality. They didn't tell you, get a real good woman that's going to be good for you. Somebody you could rock and build with. Nah, you just get a whole bunch. I got this one. It was changing cars. I got my Tuesday chick, my Wednesday chick, my Thursday chick. You know, we moving like that. And it carried on. Like, after, when I got to college and went to LIU, it really just kind of escalated for me. Because at that time.
Now, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt you. I want to touch on LIU so that people can understand what you're going through. I like to set the scene for them. First of all, you know that you have an addictive personality, all right? You know at this time, am I right or wrong, that you have an addiction to porn?
At this time, no.
No.
I don't know
yet. But it was there. You just didn't notice it. So you have an addiction to it, but this is even worse because you don't even know what the problem is, all right? Now, where LIU is, where his college is, which is Long Island University, you went to the campus that was down on DeKalb,
Flatbush
right?
Extension. Yep, DeKalb and Flatbush Extension.
Now, Flatbush Extension, y'all, that's the beginning, basically, of Brooklyn. You had Fort Greene Projects. Then you had my block, which was Albee Square. Albee Square was where the mall was. Everybody from Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx, everybody came to Fort Greene. Everybody came to the Albee Square Mall. The game room was in there. Like, that's where you tested your manhood in the hood. Like, if you could rock your chain in there and come out with it, you was a good nigga. You know what I'm saying? So you had all of the women in the mall, and then you had educated women on campus in LIU. So I just wanted to set that up to let people understand you had an addictive personality. You don't know that you're addicted to pornography. And you got all of these women in the midst of living in quantity, as you said. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man, Big Dirty Red. So go on now. Continue with your story.
So now, like I said, I'm at LIU. Now, the thing about me going to the U was I was playing ball and I was trying to get on the team. I didn't get my scholarship or nothing. So I'm still got to pay for school. Now I got to get my bread up. That led me to being in the street. So now I'm running around downtown. I'm running with me, Slop, Little Slop. I'm running with Self, my whole crew. That's my whole crew from up in the hood. So we out here doing what we was doing.
Yeah.
We doing what we was doing.
Right.
You know, and at that time, it's like most of the women wanted the drug dealer, the dude who was live wire and all that stuff. When I first started out, I was just playing ball. Everybody knew me in high school for playing ball. I was dunking on dudes. I played ball. I played artillery. I went to Eastern District.
You went to ED? All right, cool.
I went to ED. Yeah. I grew up with all the dudes from the fort, Farragut, Sumner, Tompkins, Marcy. We all was together. I played ball in all these tournaments. I played artillery. I played in all these different places. I played with a whole bunch of people. My man Ted, who was 6 Star and them from Fort. I played with Kev, Kurt, and all these dudes. I played with a lot of people.
Right.
So I already knew people and my movement was good. Then when I started doing that, once I started getting money a little bit, then these women was coming easy. Cause now you got some bread, you looking like new money, you know.
Jewels, you know what I'm saying?
I got jewelry, you know what I'm saying? So we moving different.
You know what I'm saying?
We moving different.
Definitely.
Yeah, but we was moving different, and it just added to the fuel. So once I started dealing with females, and you know, in high school it was just you lucky if you get any. Period.
Right.
When I started playing ball, though, it took me to other schools, and you know, being on a team, they coming to you. That was easy. Exactly. So I'm catching chicks from Coney Island. I'm catching chicks from Flatbush. You know, I wasn't really getting nothing in the hood, but I didn't care because I wasn't staying around there. Then I started hanging out in Harlem and in the Bronx with my cousins, so it was really good for me. Then when I was taking money and getting, you know, going out there in the street, it added more of an edge to me. So I'm really soaked up in this world right here. And it's growing.
Totally dysfunctional at this point because now you have an addiction and you can actually now afford to basically take care of that addiction that you don't even know that you have.
So here it goes. This is one thing that led me to believe, and I realized that I had a problem. Remember I talked about the DVD collections, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had over 200 something DVDs, straight porn. I cleaned out, I was cleaning up because I was getting ready to move around. I was doing something. I think I was moving to my own spot or something. So I was throwing all the stuff in the bag and I was like, yo, this is ridiculous. I got 200 something movies. Like, oh, who does this? That's when I started getting a signal in my head that, yo, something's kind of wrong. So I took those.
Do the math on it, even if you got them from the African dude on Flatbush at $5,
doesn't matter.
That shit is still a lot of money, right?
It's too much. It's too much.
Right.
So I gave them all away, and I was like, you know, I'm done with this or whatever. Yeah, I was done with it for about maybe a couple of weeks, but it wasn't done with me. So now I'm moving in, and this is what I'm talking about in the book. So here's my next phase. The crazy part is, so I needed to get out of the street because I knew I was going one or two places. I was going to be locked up or I was going to die.
Right.
And I ain't want neither one of those. I had to figure this out.
Now, hold on.
I met a cat.
Hold on. Before you go on, I'll interrupt you. I want to explain to people, because they see a lot of police injustice going on right now.
Right.
What you're seeing right now is only because they're video cameras. I need people to understand this shit. Yeah. When me and you was coming up, them police will lock your ass up, right? Put you in the car, beat the shit out of you, and drop you off over in Howard Beach and shit, and make you walk home with no money with all of them white boys that didn't like you over there.
Yeah.
They was killing niggas back then. It just wasn't making the news. You know what I'm saying? So, I really wanted to set the tone for people to really understand where you were mentally at that time. You know, you out in the street doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? Just so that people know that the cats he talking about, I'm going to put it to you like this. The saying Manhattan keeps on making it and Brooklyn keeps on taking it, those is the niggas that they talking about. Brooklyn keeps on taking it.
We was taking it. They was taking it.
They was taking it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to put it to you like that. And I see a lot of people talking about they had a porn collection too. And they like, wow, like they not even noticing it. So, you know, go on.
So it's growing and everything. But now my life took a shift. Because like I said, I needed to stay away from, avoid the penitentiary and stay out the grave. I met a cat that I went to school with. He introduced me to the dancing game. The dancing game, I was a male stripper. This exploded everything because now what it did was it introduced me to a whole different kind of world where I'm not like the average dude anymore. When I started grooving, that's what we call it. I started grooving back in 97. And once your name starts taking off, you like a celebrity, but just in a lower tax bracket. Gotcha. And women are coming to you like it's water. You know, I'm dancing.
Because it's like a kind of world that they're in where like women have, I mean, because, you know, I come from a house full of women, so I be knowing these women be having parties and they invite, they get down just like niggas. You know, like, let's be real.
You have no idea. It's worse than what you think it is.
So just so that we could explain to people, because, you know, a lot of cats, they're about to get married. They got a girlfriend. Their girl be like, oh, we're gonna have a male show, or we just having a good time. Explain to them what one of your private parties was like, please.
Okay, so you had with those parties, the bachelorette parties, right before they get married. It depended on who the woman was if it goes left. But the ones that did go left were always girls' night outs and divorce parties. Those guaranteed to go left. So
How
I've
left?
had situations. I mean, straight orgy left. Like, yo,
So
I
hold
did
on.
a joint. Listen, I did a joint with a.
Invited to an orgy.
Listen, it's crazy. It was crazy. I did a joint for a bunch of school teachers. They rented. They had one of them had a house, and we all in the house. Me and two other dancers. We came in, did our thing, and it just went crazy. It went crazy, crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it went crazy.
No, you know what I'm thinking? Because I was in love with my first grade teacher.
Yo,
Her name was
teachers.
Miss McNabb, right? And
Oh my God.
her son name was the same as mine. His government name, Lamar. So she was having husband problems at the time because she would come and like be beefing, like, oh,
Yeah.
like to the class, like about this dude. You know what I'm saying? We sit there
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, but that just goes to show it doesn't matter the profession that the woman is in. This happens.
Oh
Teaching.
my God, bro.
Okay,
Bro.
what's one of the wildest groups of women that you ever had? Like were they what was it, the teachers? Was it some church women? What was one of the wildest groups of women that you could say you had?
Teachers. Teachers, I swear to you, teachers. I don't know what it is with a lot of women who were educators.
Mm-hmm.
Church women were wild too. Don't get me wrong. Church women were wild too. But you had the ones who, see, that's the thing. And being that me, myself, I'm a church dude. I go to church and everything, but I have a relationship with God. I don't just go because of religion. You got a lot of people who go because of religion. So they got one foot in the church and the other foot is out in the street.
Right.
So they still doing, they go on Friday and Saturday partying hard, going crazy, and then Sunday they want to repent for everything they did on Friday and Saturday. Then they going right back to doing the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? But that lifestyle, getting back to the book and everything, and that's how I explain that lifestyle, because now it allowed me to, I didn't look at women as women. I looked at them as objects. And there were girls who would come into parties, like the big shows we had, like at the Lab or Sugar Hill or something like that. And they would come into these shows and they look like and resemble certain porn stars. So
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna rock with her tonight because, she looked like Cherokee.
Right.
She thick like Cherokee, or she looked like Pinky or Janet Jackson or something like that.
Right.
So I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. Then I went to LA. I started dancing out there. And I started rocking with a couple of porn stars.
Got you.
They
Yeah,
was
out
trying
here,
to get
they be
me
all
in
over
the
the
game.
place. Yeah, they be all over the place. They be, I don't know the dude's name, but look, I do watch porn, so I'm just gonna be real. But the light-skinned dude that be having all the fake jewels and shit, the big rings and shit,
Byron Pumpers, yeah.
the dude be on the train bagging bitches still. Like I'm out here in LA now and I see the dude like bagging him. I'd be like, and this nigga be on fire with it. He just ride the train, the red line back and forth, bagging bro.
Yeah.
For porn. Yeah. But
that's the movement.
Yeah,
that's just how it is. That's the movement. Wow. And they tried to get me into the industry. Like I was dealing with a certain porn star out there. She was like, yo, I could get you in the game right now. I got a couple of girls lined up. She threw some names at me and I was like, what? I was with it, but I had to, something made me think. Do I really want, like, my son, my oldest son, he'll be 30. Do I want him turning on the TV and going, he watches something, he got a little shorty with him, he looking at something, he go, yo, wait a minute, that's my dad. Or my oldest daughter, she happened to be watching something with somebody, she be 21, and she looking at somebody, and she's like, yo, that's my pops. Bad enough I was doing the stripping thing, I don't need my kids seeing this. Right. So I had to back up off that, and that's what eased me off of it. But it also let me realize that, yo, there's something going on here in your mind.
So that's when you
realize. And I had to really think about it. I started really starting to think about it like, yo, there's something wrong. And I figured it out. You know, I had to sit myself down. And when I really noticed that I knew it was a problem is when I got out the dancing game, I retired, and I gave my life to God. Once I made that change and said, listen, I'm going to live my life for God. I'm going to put away everything that I used to do and forget about all of that. The devil doesn't care about anything that you're doing while you just doing it out in the street. You already in the environment, so he don't care. I'm not going to mess with you. But you made a decision to consciously say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to live this path on me, immediately on me. Like, I never felt like so much pressure on me.
Right now, I ain't mean to interrupt you on that, but like my man Quaylen Carter, he's watching right now. Yo, Quaylen, I think you should get my man on your show, because you know, he has a show where he's talking about people that go through things and actually realize that God is within them, and they turn their life around. So, you know, I'm gonna connect you with my man Quaylen. I'd like to see you on his show, so that you
appreciate that.
You know, I'm definitely gonna link that up for you, because I think that's a good part of the story that needs to be told, not just here but on other platforms. And look, I don't want to give away too much of the book, because I want everybody to definitely. I'm gonna copy it, because I'm gonna be real,
man.
Like, you know, I love the fact that you chose, and no, not to just love the fact. I respect the fact that, you know, we from the same hood, so our mentality is really hustle. Yes. And for you to have something where it's like, it's naturally me, I don't have to front, and you can get paid for it and satisfy an addiction, that's really hard to turn that around and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to feed my family. I'm not going to drive these dope cars. I'm going to totally turn around. That takes a lot of balls. That takes a lot of heart. But more than anything, that takes a lot of belief. And I want to give you credit for that, because not a lot of people could do that. Like I mean, people got to understand, stripping was making you a lot of money. You had to be making at least probably like $100,000 a year around it. Yeah. And then you got introduced to where you could do pornography, which would have took you into a whole nother tax bracket, and you walked away from that. So I definitely want to give you credit on that. And look, Quaylen said he definitely going to interview you, so we definitely going to hook that up for you.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to link y'all up. But, because, you know, I don't want to give, damn, this is such a good interview. I want to give it real. So what made you become an author? What was it that struck you to become an author?
I always wrote. I just didn't have a bunch of direction for what I was writing. Like, as a kid, I wrote stories and things like that. And I loved the art of telling story. Like, you know how we be in the hood, and I'm telling you a situation just like I'm sitting here telling you now. We all held church right there and told our stories. But I remember details about certain things, and I can make you see like you were right there. And I also write movies. I write screenplays. I've been doing that for about 15 years now. The book came out of a necessity. I needed another avenue to make money, and also I wanted to solve a problem. And this was my problem. And I knew that I couldn't find solutions. I had been to the church meetings. I've been around the pastoral things where they're telling you just read the scripture, go outside and do things like that. That stuff doesn't work all the time. I needed a concrete way to figure this out, because I also knew that I wasn't the only one going through this. So for me to be able to work it out and give you a detail, do this, do this, do this, because times are going to be hard when your flesh is just saying, I'm not doing that. We watching her tonight. You know what I'm saying? And it's on you. Going outside doesn't.
So you give a step by step in the book. Yeah. Very good. All right. Perfect.
And I also explain to you what it is from a biblical standpoint. I give you the spiritual side of it, because most of us, we only see the physical side. You know, like you said, you watch, it's nothing to you and stuff like that. But I break it down to you, what's happening that you don't see from the spirit realm. What's going on? It's really a form of worship, what you're doing. You know, if you just an avid just watcher, but if you're masturbating, it's worship, because now you're sacrificing something. And I go into detail about that in the book, how this works. I'm giving you scripture about what's going on in the placement of everything that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? It's just like any other addict. Okay, so if you shoot dope, right? You got your needle, that's your vessel. Your needle's your vessel to get the dope into you.
Right.
All right. And the dope is that actual agent that you're using. Same thing with porn addiction. You use your whatever, your phone, TV, video, your computer, whatever you're using, that's your vessel because you're opening a door. You have to open a door to let something in. And that's what you're doing. And if you put it back to, if you look at churches, the way they're set up, when you first walk into a church and the beginning of service is praise and worship opens you up to receive the word so the preacher can preach. So it gets you excited, gets the spirit riled up within inside of you, you know, and you're more welcoming because you're open. It opens the door to you receive. Same differences. But then, you know, once you prick your skin as you're shooting that needle, that's sacrifice. That's a blood sacrifice. Most people don't think of it like that. When you're doing pornography, if you're masturbating, your ejaculation is a sacrifice.
Wow.
You never thought about it like that, did you?
No. Like, yo, you had me fucked up in the beginning because I kind of knew where this was going. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, I'm sitting here listening to this and I'm sitting here like, shit. It really makes you self-reflect. You know what I'm saying?
You got to think about it, yeah.
You got to think about it. I'm going to be real because, like, yo, my grandmother just passed away. So we were going through her stuff and I moved, you know, from New York to Cali. And my aunt called me like, yo, you got a big-ass 20-gallon bin full of DVD movies. I knew what movies was in there. It was 70s. It was my 70s collection. And the other 3/4 of that is porn. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm sitting here listening like, damn, could I have been addicted? I mean, but I wasn't watching. My thing was they was 2 for $5. I was getting from the Africans on Fulton. Right. So I go there and get like a whole, all right, yo, let me get a porn. Buy 3 movies, all right, let me get a porn. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got 3 or 4 movies, you know what I'm saying? But still, I have to admit and be real. That's like somebody that just say, I'm not addicted to weed. I only smoke it every night. No, you smoke weed, nigga. Like, don't try to make an excuse on a time. So there may be a fact where I have to look at myself and be like, damn, you 46 years old, nigga, and how much time have you wasted? How many hours have you wasted? Like, you really got to think, like, you really making me think here, which is a good thing.
And see, that was the point, to make people think, because if you think about it, if you estimate it all the time is the most precious commodity that we have. We cannot get it back. Once you spend it, it's gone. That's it. You can't get it back. Think about the time that you waste doing that, like I did. I sat back and thought about the time that I wasted in front of the TV screen, in front of the computer screens, on my phone doing that, right? And as a creator, how many movies could I have written? Like, for me, I write screenplays. It only takes me about 2 weeks to write a full-length screenplay. I could write series in a couple of months, maybe 2-3 months. So I can put together so much creative stuff instead of doing that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like today, I can't front. It's a day-to-day struggle. It's not something that I say, yo, I walked away from it. I don't never do it no more. The same ideas are always popping in my head constantly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm thinking about stuff that ain't got nothing to do with that. It still pops in my head.
Oh, damn.
But it's gotten to the point. Yeah.
I'm seeing here, Ray Midnight Williams says that book Porn has 4 stars on Barnes and Noble. God damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Shit. That's my boy Midnight. Right. That's my boy from Tennessee. Yeah, that's my boy right there. But yeah, it's doing well. And I pray it keeps doing better, you know, because it's something that could change people's lives. Like you said, from the conversation that we having, look how much you just started thinking.
Yeah.
You have to reassess. But these are conversations that people are not having. Dudes are not having this kind of conversation in the barbershop.
It's the most uncomfortable thing in the world to admit that you have, for somebody to say that you got an addiction, and then for you to sit there and say, hey, me, that's hard. That's hard. Yeah. I had to do it when I was, you know, when I found myself, especially when I came to LA, I found myself overdosing on weed. To the point
it's so accessible. Right.
Not only is it so accessible, it's so strong that
it's strong out there. Yeah.
In New York, now I'm smoking it out here. All right, cool. But I need something stronger. I knew I had a problem with weed when I sat there and bought 140 $40 worth of Apes. And Apes is only like $35 a piece out here. You know what I'm saying? And I smoked damn near all of that shit in one day and was just sitting there like, I said, shit, I got a fucking problem. That's when I noticed I had to slow down because I looked at the amount of hours that I was sitting there rolling blunts, smoking blunts, going to buy weed.
There you go, bro.
I took a lot of that energy and created this show.
There you go. Now, see what you did? That's exactly what I'm talking about. When you get out of this and your mind starts to open up and you're looking at, like, when I stopped surfing the net for porn and I really started getting into building my business and doing stuff like that, all the different things that I found, all the different sites are talking about stuff that was interesting me in business and being an entrepreneur and moving on with my life, you know, and then the ideas for movies that I created, you know what I'm saying? So that helped me even more. It moved me along into a different direction. And that was the biggest thing for me. And if I could do that for 1, 2 people, I made it. I'm successful just because I was able to help change somebody else's mind. Because I know a lot of dudes who are going to be suffering in silence with this. And all it does is continue to drag you down further and further. Because the bad part about it is that when you get into it heavy, you don't look at women as women. You know, they're objects.
And you want to know what?
Objects.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's a problem that I had in my relationships all my life. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, and it's like, I had a lot of good girlfriends. And put it, me and all of my exes, we cool.
Right.
We cool as fuck. Like, we still call each other Christmas, holidays, birthdays, Facebook message, all that. Like, we cool. They don't hate me. Okay. They disliked where I was in my life at that time because at that time, just like you said, I looked at women like an object.
Right.
And whatever I was feeling that night, if it was after a movie set, if it was after, an album release party, I wanted them to be whatever I was thinking. And I'm going to be honest, I will reflect back to a movie.
There it is, bro.
And if she wasn't doing what I thought her look should do, like what I seen in that movie.
Yep. It's time to move on. Yeah.
Or I was looking for something else to supplement. So I would take her out. She good enough to go out with, but this one is good enough to say, yo, this is I'm just tripping off this, and I didn't even intend for this to take up this much of your time. I'm just sitting here learning and just
it's cool. Yeah.
So look, I want to beat everybody over the head with this. What's the name of the book? Where can they get it?
The book is called Porn, The Truth, the Whole Truth, and Nothing But the Truth. It's available on Google. It's available on Amazon, iTunes, and BarnesandNobles.com. You can get it a digital download or you can get a hard copy.
So, damn, pardon me for taking up too much of your time, but I just really want to.
Don't worry about it, bro. That's what I'm here for.
I want to ask you one more question. What would you tell somebody how they could admit that they have this issue? That's what, like how would somebody know that they have it? How can I come to a point where I was in my life and say, yo, dog, you want to know what? And I'm sure that they can read it in your book. Some of the signs, but give us just a couple of 1 or 2 of the tall tale signs. I don't want to give away everything in the book because I want them to read it, but I just really want to know what's some of the signs that you find or that you could tell somebody like, yo, man, I think you got an addiction problem to porn. Maybe you should look into it.
It's self-evaluation. So if you sit there and you know yourself better than anybody else knows you, so is it consuming a lot of your time? Are you finding yourself consistently thinking about pornography or the scenes that you've seen maybe a night before or whatever? Is lust consuming your thought process? You know, are you looking at women and instead of seeing the beauty of a woman, you saying she look like so-and-so and I wonder if she can do this and do that? You know, are you looking at women and, you know, she has lip gloss off and you thinking about how well she give head? You know, these are unnatural movements. You're not thinking about how pretty she is, but you're more concerned with how lustful she is, or how can she do this, or she look like she could do this and do that.
But how we grew up, men, we're taught to be the hunter. So that becomes it's easy to get that really confused with being an aggressive male toward women, and I don't mean aggressive like beating them up, but I mean like just a dude that's not shy, ready to go out and talk to a girl. And
right.
where you know what I mean? So there's a
Let
fine
me
line.
answer that. Let me give you something for that. So a woman pointed this out to me. She was like, you know, I hate the way that men look at me, and it's a lustful look. You know, when you're looking at a woman and because she's beautiful, you know, she looks nice, she's dressed well, whatever the case is, hair's done and everything. And there's a different kind of look. But then you know what the look looks like when you're being a pervert. We've seen it before. We may not recognize it in ourselves, but we've seen other dudes do it. You know, that turnaround when she walked past you and you turn around and you look, that's lust. And the crazy part about it is in the Bible, in Matthew, Jesus was talking about that. And he was saying that you've already committed adultery with your eyes because in your mind, your eyes are your gateway to your mind. So in your mind, you've already done all kinds of filthy things with her. You've crossed the boundary lines already. You didn't even have to touch her. You don't have to do none of that. And this is the same kind of look. You know, a lot of people may not want to hear that, but the perversion, that perverse look that you gave this woman is the same kind of perverse look that a pedophile give a child.
Wow.
It's the same thing.
It is.
It's the same look. It's the same look. It's just that your plate, you put it in your mind that, okay, she's of age, so I shouldn't feel bad about this. But you still making this woman uncomfortable. Wow. She's like, oh, Dad, you know, he can't just, you know, looking at her and admiring her is one thing. Looking at her like you gonna rip her clothes off, this is scary. And these women have to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. You know, I'm not saying, you know, for you not to look at women, but check yourself. You know when you're going too far because you already know what's going on in your head. And as men, we can't revert back to boyish ways. Boys do stuff like that because they don't know no better. We're grown men. And as a man, you got to take a stand for something. So you can't say, all right, you know, I have to control self.
Right.
She may look beautiful, be voluptuous. I've seen a million big butts all my life. You ain't got to turn around and look at this because she's going to look the same way every other one looks. You know what I'm saying? So why go that extra mile? What are you gratifying? You got to hold yourself.
My cousin is on, and she's a woman, Vanessa. Big shout out to Vanessa. She was Kane's dancer. She gets a lot of looks like that. And you said that, and I looked at her name. I said, oh, shit. He's fucking right. I don't notice the look that I give other women, but I notice when I'm with her, the looks that men give her. So, Vanessa, if you could type in and tell me, you know, how does that make you feel as a woman? Because I look at it like, yo, I'm ready to fuck this dude up because that's my fam. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But I do the same thing.
But you do the same exact thing to other women. Right. See, that's the difference. When you, like you're saying, when you're watching porn, you're not looking at this woman that's on the screen as somebody's mother, aunt, niece, daughter, sister. You're not looking at none of that. All she is to you is a sexual object.
Sometimes. And you can see the C-section scar sometimes. And you like somebody's mother, but you're sitting there.
But you don't care.
Exactly.
You don't care because that's what I'm telling you. Lust knows no boundaries. It does not care. All it is a thing that wants to be fed consistently. It does not care. It does not care about who you are, where you are in your life. It doesn't mean nothing. Lust wants to be fed, and that's it. This is why you have to learn how to discipline yourself, to deny your flesh. You know, and I covered that in the book. Like when I didn't know how to fast. I knew how to pray, but I didn't know how to fast. I didn't understand what fasting was about. When I learned what fasting was, which is literally you're killing your flesh. If you can deny your flesh, when you get hungry and you get those impulses from your body, when you get hungry, your body talks to you. I don't care who you are, what you believe in. When you're hungry, your body speaks, period. If you can control that urge, you can conquer any other urge because hunger is the strongest one. You know, the lust is one thing, but hunger, it all goes back to hunger. If you start to control that and you walk differently, you move differently, you have to discipline yourself. When you walking by a chick with a real fatty on her, you looking like you want to turn around, you got to hold yourself and be like, you know what? No, I seen her from the front. That was good enough for me. She's beautiful. That's good. I'm going to leave it at that. And it's a discipline. And all those little small little steps are the ones that help me get out. And these are the things that keep me out. And I don't have to revert back to who I once was.
Wow. Man, this is amazing. Yo, brother, I want to thank you for being on. Like, I learned a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man.
Yo, any time you have any project, please holla at me. You know how to get at me. Get at
Right.
Jay. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Live. Yo, we always here for you. Just one more time before we close out. Let everybody know the name of the book. Where they can, I want to beat them over the head with this. I want them to go out and get that book, man.
So the book is called Porn, The Truth, The Whole Truth, and Nothing But the Truth. It's available on Amazon.com, Google, iTunes, and BarnesandNobles.com. I actually have a copy right here behind me. So hope y'all can see that. That's my book.
That book, y'all. Let's get that book. Let's push this up. Because I think it's more than just I mean, look, your book is great, and I think you got a lot of things in it. I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna buy it for myself to read because I think it's a good read. But I think we need to not only look to support Black actors and Black artists, rappers and everything. I think we also need, our next poets. We need our next Donald Goins. We need to support them also because they have stories also. But not only that, libraries are disappearing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Libraries are disappearing. So we really need to get back to reading, get back to people doing things. And I want to thank you for this. And look, man, I'm going to talk to you again in the future, man. Thank you very much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you.
Salute. And look out for Quaylon to holler at you. He going to get you for an interview on his show, all right?
Indeed.
I'm going to link y'all up. Peace, brother.
All right, brother. Have a blessed one.